Hey, everybody. Welcome to Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast. My name is Eugene Driscoll. I'm a reporter with valleyindy.org. That's an online newspaper, essentially, covering Derby, Ansonia, and Seymour. As you may or may not know, municipal elections are coming up November 2nd, 2021. And I am very excited and honored to welcome back to this program the mayor of Derby, Mr. Richard Dziekan.
Eugene, good morning.
How are you, Mayor?
Doing good, having fun.
Yeah, thanks so much for agreeing to do this. What I like about Derby politics is that I sent notes to your campaign manager. I sent a note to your challenger's campaign manager saying, hey, I want to do this Zoom meeting thing, unplanned, like a couple of days notice. And they're just both like, yeah, okay, let's do it. No drama, no dancing. So I do appreciate that.
Well, I'm extremely happy that you're doing this because, as you know, we applied, or we offered a couple times to do a debate, which the other camp refused to participate in. So I'm happy that we're doing this because at least knocking on doors, people don't really know what his platform is or what he's going to do for the city, what his proposals are. So at least now I'm looking forward to seeing his interview to tell, maybe he's going to tell us what he plans to do with Derby and really keep it going and getting the taxes stable and everything. So I'm glad you did this because I think the voters definitely deserve the opportunity to hear from both candidates.
Yeah, and then just one thing about debates, like I've heard some talk, there was an offer. I wasn't involved in any of that. And on my end, I didn't step up and offer anything as well. It just wasn't in the cards this year. So I apologize to the Derby electorate for that.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that the voters should be educated on what each candidate can offer. I mean, to be silent in the background is no way to run a campaign, I don't think. I mean, at least everyone knows where we're coming from and what we've been doing for the last 4 years.
Yeah, so let's start off, Mayor Dziekan. The first question I have for you on my trusty reporter's notebook here. I want to know that what are your two priorities? If you're reelected as Derby mayor, this will be your third term, correct? Is that where you're going?
Yes.
So what are two things you can guarantee Derby residents will see if you're reelected?
So the number one, I want to go towards an economic developer full time. We've done what we can right now for downtown Derby in the open lots that we have, but we need a person that's really, that's their forte, they're educated in that, and plus tie into that with the grant writer position. As you know, we lost a very key personnel in our administration last December, and she was handling a lot of our economic and our grant writing. So individual departments are handling it right now. I want that one key person to step up and basically run it, because we have that 12 acres across from City Hall that we own, and we need to start marketing that and getting it out there, not just in the compounds of the valley or the city or the state, I mean, but also out nationally. Maybe there's a company out in somewhere out there, massive buildings and stuff like that, developments that they want to step in here, because it's a gorgeous plot of land that we have there. There's a lot of difficulties there to really develop it with the slopes and everything on that side of the river next to the dikes, but it's beautiful there when you go down there and you look at it and you see the view. So we need number one, that's one of the primary ones that we need to do. And second is that to carry into it is that parcel of land that is sitting there. Now is like prime time to really start getting that developed. And tying into that, the only other developer large property that we have is Fountain Lake up next to Ansonia, where Farrell's building is up there. So there's 35 acres there that we like to, that's untouched, that we'd like to see what we can do to start getting that developed. But we'd have to go through Ansonia to get the right of way into our property there. So there's two big properties that, on top of the 4 other developments that we have in Derby, that we can get those properties up and running, and that's going to take some more of the burden off of our taxpayers here in the city of Derby.
With that last project you had mentioned, or that idea to get some kind of development on up near Farrell's off Fountain Lake there, what's there now? I'm completely ignorant. I didn't know Derby has land up there.
There was a parcel of land there that was partly in Ansonia, partly in Derby. Ansonia started developing theirs. Farrell's is up there. They have a couple more lots. Derby's partial is more developable. Theirs was more on a mountain. You had to do some blasting over there. As ours, there's some peaks and valleys there, but I think it's going to be a better spot to really look into that. And that's where this economic developer got to come in and see if it is feasible and see if brick and mortar buildings are the way to go, or because of the pandemic and everybody's doing stuff at home, there's another way to repurpose that property over there.
And then when you say an economic development director, I know the last full-time dedicated economic development director and grant writer, that was her only jobs, was Sheila O'Malley under Mayor Stafari. Then
Yes.
Mayor Dugato's administration brought in a part-time person who was sort of a planner slash economic development director. And then you've had Carmen DeCenzo as an
Yes.
economic development liaison. How do you pay for that? That job, usually a full-time position like that, is probably 80 to 100 grand, I would assume.
Absolutely.
If so, how do you propose to pay for something like that?
Well, number one, like what we did when we stepped in, we took 28 properties that were initially, um, the city was owning that. So we put those back on the tax rolls. We have a fuel cell on Roosevelt Drive that is being built at this moment right now, and a piece of property that was getting $1,500 a year. It's now going to be bringing in 200,000 a year. And then we have another fuel cell on Coon Hollow, which will be bringing in 50,000 a year, which at right now is making no money because it's city properties. There's $250,000 there. The other 28 properties, our fund balance is up to an 8% now. We do have some money to start working with, and to pay an economic developer, like you said, 90, 100, $110,000 a year, and they're bringing in 40, 50, $60 million into our grant list. I think that's a great investment to start paying, to bring in that extra amount of money. A lot of, like, Derby had a problem. I noticed, like, the finance director, before we just got the new one, 65,000. We put that out to bid. Nobody wanted it because Derby, for some reason, was always paying the employees here lower, especially the professional people. We turned that around with the hiring of a finance director, $110,000 a year. And what she's done to that office already, shorthanded, she already brought some temporary people in. And what that's done in our last meeting with the Board of Aldermen, the auditor even said, this is the first time in the last couple of decades that the audit is on time, and it's going to be right along where it should be, as opposed to, we just had the last one over a year. So the professionalism that we're bringing people in, we have to pay for that. I mean, to hire your cousin, whoever, to come in there for $60,000 to get something done, those days are over. We can't do that anymore. We got to get the politics out of all these hiring, do it professionally, because this person that's in that position needs to know they're going to stay there and do the best for Derby, that they're not going to be looking for a job down in Florida once a new administration comes in. So
And
the
I'm
money
sorry, go
is
ahead.
there. The money is there, Eugene, to get this down. Now that we have a positive fund balance, that was amazing that we got that done, and I'm very proud of my administration.
Yeah, that was one thing I've noticed, and it was like my last question, but I'll skip to it right now. There has been this transformation to some extent of employment in Derby City Hall. Can you talk about what have you sort of regionalized? Like, I mean, I had my bathroom done, and I called up to get the inspector, and it was the Shelton building inspector. So, what have you regionalized, and is it working in terms of positions in City Hall?
Absolutely. The first one you just said there, building department. So we are paying 60,000 a year, in Shelton oversees the building department. We pay $54,000 a year to Shelton, and they oversee the dog warden. So if you had a problem with your dog, you called, Shelton's coming out. It's nothing different. They're going to handle it, just like the building inspector. We're saving money on benefits, vehicle, gas, insurances. So it's a win-win for the city of Derby. And like you said, you called, they showed up. I didn't even know there was a difference. You know, you got your permits, everybody's certified, nice and smooth. There hasn't been any problems down there. I think it's a great fit for the city of Derby and the city of Shelton. With Ansonia, we also currently use this same gas pump. When I first got in, they never did the inspections. We were lucky we didn't have a major catastrophe up there with our gas pumps, because they never got inspected. When the deep finally found that, we had to pull those tanks out. Luckily, the ground was perfect. We probably would have to pay another $150,000, $200,000 to put new pumps up there. But by removing that gas pumps at Public Works, we just eliminated a potential area where we can have a natural or a disaster for spillage and stuff like that. So now we just use Ansonias. We pay for whatever half of the maintenance and whatever the fuel we use. The salt shed, where we keep our salt and our sand for snow removal and covering the roads, we use there. So we have one machine fills up trucks from Ansonia and Derby. We have that extra front end loader. So say if we have a heavy snowstorm, that heavy loader can go hit the intersections. You know how when they pile up snow, so you want to clear it out, we can push those, put that one extra machine, go back and forth to Derby. We also have other things for public works, grass cutting machines, any other painting machines and stuff like that. We utilize back and forth. So we regionalize ourselves. It's not big fanfare, but we do that. So we were able to reduce the cost on buying our own individual equipment.
And correct me if I'm wrong, there's also a big discussion. I haven't been to any of the meetings, but there's talk now of possibly making the WPCA, which oversees all the sewer pipes and the pump stations and the main sewage facility down there in Caroline. There's talk about possibly going private with that, and that's the thing. We're all paying $256 in a capital fee for all the repairs that were made. That voters approved a while back. So how's that discussion going?
Right, in 2014 they approved that capital improvement. So right now it's a two-pronged approach we're doing right now. We have Aquarion is looking at to privatize, to take over, and be the point person to run that. So they would own it. They would take all the buildings, the infrastructure. Then now it's going to be turned into taxable property. One thing I want is that when they take that in, I want to see that capital improvement that the citizens are paying to be absorbed into the purchase price. So I'd love to see that $257 disappear. So we're just back to usage fees. And then on the other side of that, we had a state study through Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments that we belong to. And right now it's looking at Seymour, Ansonia, and Derby, regionalizing all the plants, pumping it into Ansonia, and then discharging into Derby. And the reason that being is that the Naugatuck River and the Housatonic River, the two bodies of water there, you need less treatment to go into the Hoosie as opposed to Naugatuck. So those two things are parallel right now. We're working on that. And the other regional study that we were doing is the senior center, which that's still moving along. That's been in an executive session with our lawyers, talking to their lawyers, but it's still moving forward. And my main thing is to keep our residents, especially our seniors. They deserve a nice, safe, comfortable place that's like one level, so you're not going up and down to do your activities, and to have many more activities. So every time you combine with another a city or a town, the potential for more activities, to do more with less money is there. So that's my big thing with regionalization in other towns.
And then just switching gears, it's the topic everyone always talks about, the Route 34 Main Street widening. I know it went out to bid. It actually took a step forward September 1st, I think.
Yes.
What's the status of that? Did any bids come back? Are we ever going to see that project start?
What happened is initially they put it out to bid September 1st. It was supposed to be done the 28th. So that's only 20 something days for a $27 million project that's taken over 12 years. So they extended it up until October 20th. And now they just extended it to November 3rd, because they want to make sure that these engineers are looking. I mean, if you look at this design, this packet is like this thick. I mean, it's massive with all these engineering studies and light poles and gas lines. And, so they want to make sure that they get the proper information on the paper. So that's why they extended it a little bit. So for another few weeks, I don't see a problem with that. I think that's great that they're doing their due diligence to get this going. But Eugene, we've been looking at it, and you've been living in this city for how many years? That this project has been out since early 2009, 2010. They've been talking about it. And when I came in, we had to get it back to the point where it was on track until my previous administration sidetracked it. Now we're back to where it should be, where it's going to be. And the city of Derby is going to benefit from two other roads, Minerva and Elizabeth Street, are going to be able to get fixed under this current contract. So now we're moving forward, and I'm
Did they get
extremely
any
excited.
bids though when they put it out? Was it just no bids were received? I'm ignorant
They're in
of
the
that.
process. Well, what it is, they're still, it's like they give it to the engineer, and it's this thick, Gene. It's like 4 inches thick of just paperwork. So you got to go through everything. It's going to cost X amount of dollars to put this pipe in, X amount of dollars to put this conduit in, X amount of dollars to put. So they're putting all these prices together to figure out exactly what it's going to cost. So like I said, it's probably like $26 million project. So it's going to come in somewhere around there, but they need to come in with a ballpark figure of what it's going to cost them. So that's the holdup. They just have to come up with their prices, and their personnel in there from these companies are sharpening their pencils to get the bid.
And I should point out that's the Route 34 widening is a state project. The state puts out the bid, the state awards the bid.
Yes.
Just so people know. And then because that leads into my next question. Over the last few years, I don't know exactly when, but certainly since you took office, we had the Beretta Lepore down there in the redevelopment zone that was approved for mixed use, mostly residential housing there, townhouse type stuff. And then we had the former Life Touch property that won an approval, and that was torn down, and that's supposed to come back as a condo apartment type deal. But they haven't moved forward yet. And there is that sort of built-in cynicism among Derby residents at this point. It's like we get offended if somebody else, if an outsider makes fun of our main street, but then, we get frustrated looking at it, and those projects haven't started. Do you know what the delay is, if any, with why isn't there a shovel in the ground? I thought by this point
If
we'd
you
see
remember, there's
apartments.
the Dziekan.
What you cut out there,
Absolutely.
Mayor.
Right next to on that property there is Rubino's scrapyard is there. So that is, we've been working with them for the last year and a half, 2 years, and we're close, but not too close. It was assessed up here. No, it was assessed down here. They want this, so we're trying to get it somewhere where the state has the money for it, but it's just that we can't come to an agreement right now. So we're in a part where our lawyers are talking with their lawyers, and there's a couple things that we have to iron out. That we looks like it's going to be relatively close, but a lot. The Life Touch project, the Laporte brothers project, one sticking point is with the junkyard right there, with the scrapyard sitting there, and it's not appeasing or appealing to the developer to build something right there and hear the noise and everything like that. I mean, we're close on. We're shooting for like an eminent domain to do a fair market value, get that property, put a parking garage down there, so it will assist on those projects down there. Besides those two, we have the other one up on Minerva Street and Caroline Street.
That was
So
just
that is good.
approved, right?
Yes, and that's dirty, but we have brownfield money, and we're looking for a little bit more to clean that part up, and then they're ready to go. They're a private enterprise, and they want to get that going as quick as possible. Parking was a little issue on it, but I think they ironed that out. And then 33 Elizabeth Street for 32 units right on Main Street right there. So one thing I'm happy about all these projects is the foot traffic that we're going to have down there. So once you bring the people in, they will build it. We will be having more. I see restaurants down there, shopping center or stores, boutiques. I see it coming. If you got the people down there, they're going to come in and buy your products. So it took. Listen, like some people say, listen, look at Shell, look how they're doing. I said, yeah, but Mark Loretti didn't do that in 4 years. He's been there 28 years, and that's the benefit of being there a lot of years and being consistent on what they're doing. Because here it is right now. Now at Canal Street, they just put another restaurant overseeing the Housatonic down there. So that I think steady on the course is going to get this job. You keep switching up in midstream. After the 4 years that we've done here, and now you're going to turn it over to somebody else that maybe has a different plan. He wants to do something else, but this plan is working. This plan's got developers ready to go. This plan that we worked with the Route 34 and the state to get this project moving forward. All the infrastructure and everything, all the pipes and everything underneath. We had major meetings up at DOT with our state, with the NVCOG. So to say that we weren't doing enough to get this done, and it took 4 years. It should have been done 2 years ago because the previous administration went a different angle on this. So now we got it back on track, and here we are. To change it in midstream right now, we'll just put Derby back 5 steps. We're already 4 steps ahead. I hate to see us go backwards.
And then, in terms of getting things done in the city of Derby, what impact or effect, if any, has the global pandemic, COVID-19, had on the business in Derby? Has it had any? Has it been tougher the last 2 years to try to move the city forward when we've had this pandemic
It
underway?
was tough. It was tough. It was unprecedented. We walked in there like everyone else, and we worked with the health department, we worked with the state, we worked with the CDC, and we were having daily meetings with all our department heads, figuring out how we're going to do this. We switched, or we split up public works. 6 were working a couple days, 6 were next couple days. These are certain plans that we were doing in case somebody got sick. We didn't lose our whole division over there. So
Did
we
that
worked
take
with our,
away from sort of the date, like these projects on 34 and economic development? Did it take away from things? Because if you're doing one thing like that, you can't do another. What did
exactly,
you have?
exactly. I mean, so even working with the state, I mean, we have money coming from DEEP for a couple of projects that we paid out already. They're not in their office, so we're working on getting money back from them that we had to pay out. Um, But one thing, I mean, you mentioned the businesses. What we did, one reason, which was great, that we work well with our surrounding communities. Sonia and Seymour, we got together with the health department. We came up with one application for outdoor dining. So we were all on the same page. So like Sonia wasn't reinventing the wheel, and we weren't reinventing the wheel. We were just working together, and all the businesses got their applications in. Health department stamped them up. They were good. Bang! All these businesses came back to life, and it was great to see. But like I said, it was new for all of us. Just working and helping to keep our employees safe. Working from home. Some were working in the building. Hybrid back and forth. Cleaning the buildings. We had to get a lot of that stuff done. The floors, the air conditioning units. It was like one thing after another and after another. The fire department, we got to get some new washer and dryer so they clean their stuff because of the contaminants every time they go out. But it's been interesting. The health department, I can't, Jennifer that's out there, I can't thank her enough for being helping us the whole time. And then also over to the Board of Ed with Doc Conway there. I mean, I to work with such a great person like Doc, to keep the students in class the whole time and keeping them safe. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. We were contacted, daily on what to do to keep everybody safe, the Board of Ed and its students and stuff like that. So, I mean, overall, the city, I think we did a great job. I think we got an A+ on what we did to help in make it a safer place for everybody in the city.
And then, Mayor, in terms of politics, this is a campaign. One thing that the Democrats and Alderman DiMartino, who's your challenger this year, have been hitting upon is this idea that you're not in City Hall enough, that voters changed the charter to make this position full-time, and they're of the belief that, well, Mayor Dziekan isn't working full-time hours. How do you respond to that?
It's a 24/7 job. I've been there. I'm there. I'm on the phone. I'm up in Hartford. I'm up in Waterbury, Rocky Hill, doing these meetings up in DOT for the Route 34 project. It's a nonstop job. To say that it's a part-time job wasn't even realistic back when I first took over. Okay, they want to. I think they put that title on it. Good, hopefully to raise the salary for the mayor. I mean, I'm glad they raised it. I think it should have probably went up higher, but that's what they wanted to put on there. I'm a full-time mayor. I am constantly getting calls. I have a great staff in there. To think if I see, I go out and I see people and I talk to people on the street to see what's going on. Being a former police officer in Hamden, that was my job, and to solve problems as they see them. Like if Joe wants to go into that office and sit there and shut the door and hide, and then make an appointment so citizens could come up and talk to him. I go, that's no way to. Number one, people work, and some people are intimidated to go into like city hall and stuff like that. They feel a little intimidated. I'm out there. I'm approachable. They're like, hey, Mayor, I got this problem on my street. Mayor, what's going on with here? Questions that you're asking me right now, I could tell them on the street. So if you're saying you're a better mayor because you can hide in an office and make appointments and make it more difficult for people to come see you, it's completely wrong.
And when I don't remember what happened, I remember the vote and voters approved putting the words full time in the charter. But did the alderman ever set, or anybody in the city like set specific hours as to what constitutes full time for a mayor? And then the salary increase, did that go into effect, or is that after
No,
this?
it's because you can't raise the salary at midterm.
Okay.
So nothing's going to take effect until after this election, December. So that's when the pay and
Okay.
the title of full time. And it's just, I have.
What about the hours though? Is there a definition of what full time is? Did it get that specific? Is there something that says the mayor's supposed to hit a time clock or anything like that?
The city hours are what they are: 8:30 to 4:30, then 8:30 to 5:30.
Oh, gotcha.
8:30 to 12:30. It's you're there, and I'm also there at meetings. I'm also there when we have a hurricane. I'm also there at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, checking out these retention. I'm out there when they have fires. I'm out there when they, so it's unrealistic to really, if you only want somebody there for 35 hours, maybe that's all Joe wants. Listen, that's not what a mayor's supposed to be. You're supposed to be there and available on the phone. Thank God for technology. Now you get a lot of things done. Look at us right now, Eugene. Really.
Yeah, I never have to leave my basement. I can't complain.
But and it's I do my part-time stuff in Bethany. I love to serve and protect. I love being an officer. I've done that my whole life. My military background too. I love serving this great country of ours. I like working and helping people out. I like solving problems for people. And to sit in an office and make an appointment so they come to me, no, I like going out to them. And that's how I've been as a patrolman. I get in my car, I went out there, and I serve the people of Hamden. I do the same thing here in the city of Derby. I get out there. If I know where the issues are, let me get out there and let me talk to these people. And I get to see them. I see them out in the street. I see them walking around, talking to them. There's no better feeling, Eugene. So if he wants to go sit in that office and make appointments, for people to maybe make it when you're there, because I don't know what his plan is on that. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you got to be approachable. You got to be out there. You're the leader of this city. You gotta be the cheerleader for this city and get everything you can from Hartford to come down here to get any monies or any grants or anything. So I just can't see why you would want to hide in an office. It doesn't make sense to me.
And let me ask you, because we have about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
I wanted to end with, I've interviewed you before in this format for the other times you've run, but maybe there are people who don't know where you're from and what your background is. So tell me about where you were born, where you grew up.
Well, I'm born and raised in Derby, off of Krakow Street, which is off of Sodom Lane behind where the Big Y is. 17 years old, I went into the United States Air Force. I served this great country of ours for 5 years, 2 months, honorably discharged. Got out, joined, was hired by the town of Hamden. I worked with the town of Hamden for over 24 years as a patrolman, and then I went into as an accident reconstruction. So any major, serious, fatal accidents, that was what I was sent to. Late night, as you know, a lot of these happen. So 2, 3, 4 in the morning, I'm out there, investigating these accidents. It just follows through where I am as mayor. So, and then I got onto the tax board, or I was elected on the tax board, appointed to the board of aldermen. So my background is I've seen a lot with the city of Derby of how they're working and what goes on with the city of Derby. And then I really saw that the city wasn't going in a good direction. That's why I went for mayor. In 4 years, we turned a $1.8 million deficit with the issues that they had with the not misappropriation, but just incompetence of putting that money and from a $1.8 million deficit to a $3.7 million in the black positive fund balance. And mill rate is going down. We are on the right path. 4 projects, fuel cell, a 1 million gallon water tank coming through. We've got so much in the pipeline right now moving forward. I hate to see this thing get derailed, because my fear is if my opponent gets in there, what's he going to go back to 4 years ago and hire them people again? It's scary. It's really scary that we're doing such a great job that we need to keep going forward. And on top of that, the staff I have in Derby, One quote that I saw in this paper that he's going to hire professional people. Listen, in the 4 years I've hired professional people for citizens, the city of Derby. You look through it all through the clerk's office, WPCA, Public Works, police department, all professional people. So I don't know what he's saying that I don't have professional people that I didn't hire in the last 4 years, which is kind of a shot at the employees there. I think, we are a great family there. They're serving the people of Derby well. And, I'm just very honored and proud to be able to serve the citizens of Derby and to lead the city of Derby to the next point where Derby is going to be this great city once again.
All right, Mayor, let's end it on that. I want to thank you again for taking 30 minutes out of your day to talk to me about the issues facing the city Derby and your plan if you get reelected as mayor. So that's that. Thank you so much.
And once again, thanks for the last 4 years too. I had a great time. Anytime we needed something, you needed something, I needed something, we're back and forth. We had a great line of communication. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.